Hello everyone and welcome to our Sustainability in Real Estate and Planning Postgraduate Masterclass today. I'm Debbie Rodriguez and I am your host for today's session. So to quickly run through the agenda, I'll in a moment introduce you to Dr. Sacha Hasan, who will take you through the main body of our presentation today. Sacha will also tell you about our programmes within real estate and planning that we offer here at Heriot-Watt. Before we talk about some scholarships that we may have available, should you be interested in applying, and then we'll move to a question and answer session. So for now, I'd like to introduce you to Sacha. On you go, Sacha.
Yeah, hello everyone. Welcome to our masterclass session today about real estate and sustainability in real estate. I'm Sacha Hasan. I'm an assistant professor in human geography and I'm the director of the master program, both in Edinburgh and for online students as well. Today I will talk you through a little bit about how we see real estate in Heriot-Watt, and I'll also what the programs solve focus on as well. So maybe we can start with that. Okay. On the agenda today, we are going to talk a little bit first on real estate and planning future. What is the lens that we look through in order to develop our programs? And then we will look at what the programs are. And then I'll hand over to Debbie again to talk you through about scholarships. And then we will take on answers as Debbie explained. Next slide, please, Debbie. Now, when we are thinking about the future of real estate and planning, actually, it's not a secret. We are noticing that digital technologies are occurring every day. And in order to support the systems of health, governance, development, and all that, in order to make these systems more responsive to the radical changes we are going through in our built environment, our needs are changing, our climate is changing, our cities are changing. So making these technologies are supporting these systems to become more robust and more responsive to the future needs of the citizens. And that's actually the focal point of the development of our programs in Heriot-Watt. We consider how dynamic and rapid the changes of real estate market and planning are. We're looking at how smart solutions and technologies can be adapted and looked at in the solutions that we are looking at and in the way we think about real estate and planning, and also with consideration of what the big E is, and we will explore a little bit what big E is as well in a minute. Next slide, please. Now, this is just to give us an idea about how the market of real estate is changing over the past decade, and we can see the rapid changes and the expected changes. We are expecting a growth of over 30% of the real market size globally, and we can see as well on the right in the pie chart the division of the share of the in the real market real estate market globally, and we can see that all regions actually have considerable share in that. So literally, we are looking at something that high in demand. That is the future where we are heading, to be honest, because based on the United Nations statistics in 2050, more than 70% of the population will be living in cities. So we're looking at an increasing. And we can see that's a global issue. So everywhere we go, literally, it's a matter of, okay, how we're planning our cities, what the market is like, what the real estate is like. So it's an increased demand all the time. That's why it's a timely topic to consider and to think about when we are looking at the future. Next slide, please. Well, having said that, yes, our cities are growing. Yes, we need more areas, more space to live. The population is increasing. There is more demand on houses, on shopping centers, spaces and places for people, more demand on mobility, more demand on energy use because of that rapid expansion and urbanism in the world. However, we are against that challenge that with that increase in urbanization, we are continuously challenged with climate change. The temperature of the planet is increasing, the heat in cities is increasing. We are more prone, or there are more frequent natural disasters in terms of floods, unusual climate, increase in emissions in the world. So our programs and our thinking about real estate is focusing on that, how we are going to establish that balance between the increasing demand in our world in terms of demand on areas and built environment in general, with everything it holds, whether it's mobility, whether it's society, whether it's economy, whether it's governance and the rest of it, or climate change as well, on the other hand, and how we can think about both and meeting both demands. Next slide, please. That's why actually in our programs and in our curriculum, we are thinking, okay, how we can be smart, how we can be innovative in our thinking about real estate and planning and the future of cities. We're thinking how we can achieve that connectivity, how we can achieve smart living, how we can achieve connected places, how we can achieve smart environment, and how we can do all that with considerations of well-being of humans as well as the growth of our economy. And that is actually at the heart of the design of our curriculum. It's at the heart of how we are going to establish these skills and training and allow our students to have these focal points or these lenses in their work, in their studies, in their courses, so they are better prepared for what the future holds in terms of the increasing demand for innovativity and smart solutions in order to create that balance between the demand, but at the same time, health and well-being and environmental health and being robust for climate change. Next slide, please. And that's where the big E comes in, because for a long time, the big E, I think since the 19th century, the big E was all about economy, how we can actually achieve growth, how we can achieve capital, how we can achieve economic success. That was the focus for a very long time. But then kind of over the past around 3 decades and a bit, the other big E started to grow more and more, which is the environment. And I think that's the challenge that we have as planners, as real estate developers, as thinkers about the built environment, how we can actually balance these big 2 E's, how we can actually achieve the growth in economy, but at the same time, have that sustainable approach to thinking. There is an increased thinking about, yes, let's just think about real estate and a growth in built environment, but about biophilic cities as well. How can we actually integrate biodiversity? How we can increase our thinking about how we can make green space more available, more accessible. That comes at the beginning or at the start of our thinking about real estate and planning, rather than having it as a patchy solution or kind of injected later on. No, we're looking at as well how we can achieve smart solutions in mobility in terms of active travel, for example, issues of fossil energy free mobility solutions, how we can actually increase public transport in a healthy way that increases not just energy free and emission free, but as well as to increase community sense and health and well-being and connectivity between people, and to achieve that target of health and well-being. We're looking as well in our thinking about real estate and planning how we can achieve smart solutions in terms of energy. We know as a fact that the highest contributor to CO emissions, for example, is thermal comfort, which is heating and cooling in buildings and in spaces, and then comes after issues of transport and mobility. So we're looking at smarter solutions in our thinking of real estate, in our thinking of planning, how we can integrate that with wind power, with solar power, with wave power, how we can actually make that the base of our development, the base of our understanding of how real estate can actually happen and take place. Looking at issues of climate mitigation, how can we achieve cities that are robust to issues of flooding, for example? It's a major threat globally. Issues of unusual climate, issues of droughts, for example, food insecurity, and the rest of it. That's all a part of our thinking of the real estate market and what that means, the diversity and dynamics of the real estate market globally in all the zones I showed you the pie chart around at the start. A creative thinking about natural-based solutions in terms of making it actually goes in line with the biodiversity and ecosystems in the places and the context that we are looking at, but at the same time looking at issues that to achieve health and well-being for people, how we can arrive at healthy environments, how we can depend on local species, local materials in our understanding and thinking about planning and real estate. Also, how we can actually arrive at places that are self-maintained to reduce all that need for continuous maintenance, excessive use of energy. So all these, we consider them as smart, sustainable, and environmentally friendly solutions that come at the heart of what we learn in terms of the theory of real estate and planning, in terms of the application of that theory in real context projects and sites. All that comes as the foundation of what we are or how we're thinking about real estate and planning. Next slide, please. And this is probably some of you are familiar with that. Everything we do in terms of the development of our courses, the research we do as well in the Institute, all that is at the heart, like the stems from and focuses on and contributes to the Sustainable Development Goals developed by the United Nations in 2015. These are at the heart of everything, literally everything we do, and we map the design of the content of what we teach, the case studies that we pick, even the assessment methods that we are designing, how we are going to adhere to the sustainability goals, how the content of what we teach actually contributes to the development or the achievement of the development goals, the skills that you will acquire and gain from the courses and the programs that we teach in Heriot-Watt, how you will feel that everything you will learn, actually you will become more competent and more confident as well when you are asked in terms of what you know, how are you going to work, what are your set of skills, you can easily be able to map these against sustainability goals. And we know that sustainability is a selling point now, because as I showed before, it is in high demand. That's the challenge, and that's what we are heading to or towards. And that's next slide, please. Sorry, Debbie. Thank you. And that's where we come, actually. You can see that we have quite a number of varied skills, expertise, and areas of knowledge and research that span across everything I talked about, from issues that are very specific in terms of real estate markets, the housing systems, all the way to the dimensions of the policy and governance issues around real estate and planning, and then to issues of environmental and ecological sustainability and health in terms of green space, urban-based solutions, physical health as well and activity, issues of intergenerations and health and aging, healthy communities, all the way to issues of equity and diversity and accessibility and participation and empowerment. All these actually are at the heart of all that contributors to what smart cities are, to achieve connected communities, smart governance, healthy environment, and the rest of it. So all that actually contributes to achieving sustainable cities and communities. Next slide, please. And how we deliver that is through two programs. The first one is the Master of Science in Real Estate, and the other one is Master of Science in Spatial Planning and Real Estate Development. These two programs actually are designed with attention to the details that I explained in my slides, and with huge focus on achieving sustainability goals. We deliver these programs globally in our campuses in Edinburgh and in Dubai. The programs have some shared courses, but at the same time have specialized courses in each of these programs. So so you can see, like, you have some courses where you attend with colleagues who are doing the other program, but at the same time, the students in the same program, they attend specialized courses that are designed specifically for the learning intentions or the outcomes that are intended in each of these programs. And please feel free to ask questions about these as well. And I'll hand over now to Debbie to talk a little bit about scholarships. Thank you. You're on mute, Debbie.
Thank you, Sacha. So I'll talk just a little bit about scholarships that we have available, should you be interested in applying. So we have a number of international scholarships for international students. These are generally awarded to international fee-paying students as a partial fee abatement. For more information on all of the scholarships that we have available, they're all on our website, so take a look at our website. But also what we would recommend is that you contact the regional team manager for the area in which you reside. So all of those details of those regional team managers and their contact details are on this slide, as well as the website. I'll pause for a moment just so that you can maybe take a picture of it if you wish to. So that's our scholarships which are available for international students, which you could apply for if you're an international student. For those students who are UK fee-paying students based in that are UK students, these are the UK scholarships. So for more information on any of the scholarships listed below, then just email scholarships@hw.ac.uk if you're a UK student, or again, see our website. In summary, we have an alumni discount available of 20% on fees to those who have studied with us at Heriot-Watt University in the past. We also have a 30% discount and a student ambassador opportunity as part of an MRAC fellowship. MRAC standing for Marketing, Recruitment, Admissions and Communications. If you're a high level and high achieving sports person, then we do have some coaching and sports scholarships, which you could take a look at and you may be eligible to apply. We also advertise on our website an externally funded bursary offered by Postgraduate Solutions, which you can take a look at as well. In addition to that, we have specifically for the MSc Spatial Planning and Real Estate Development programme, the RTPI Planners Bursary available to UK students. And for the MSc Real Estate programme, should you be interested in that, we offer a merit scholarship which you could apply for, and that is a 20% tuition fee discount to anyone who achieves a 2-1 or higher in their undergraduate degree. So you could also apply for that. So I'd just like to thank our audience for listening in, and we will now move on to our question and answer session. So to ask a question, please just type it into the chat. It's all completely anonymous. The questions will come through to us directly and we shall answer them. The chat function is open from now, and I invite you to ask your questions. So Sacha, to kick off, I thought that presentation was really interesting. I wanted to know if you could highlight for us what is unique about our programmes at Heriot-Watt within real estate and planning.
Thanks, Debbie, for this. I think what is unique, it's a set of things, to be honest. It's not like one element or dimension to it. The first thing is, I think our programs and our courses, the teaching in these is informed by original and timely research. So all the staff members that I have show pictures of. All of them are engaged in really interesting case studies, interesting pieces of work and research, and these are of global context. So we're not looking at just the context of the UK. We have research going on in the context of South America. We have research going on in Asia as well. We have research going on in Africa, in addition to the UK. So all that actually goes back to inform our teaching and our programs and courses. So I think that have the originality, the timely nature to it, and that global nature to it as well in terms of content. And the other very unique thing about our programs as well, they are very much based on issues of career and employability. So we make really sure in our programs and courses to pay attention to the skills as well. It's not just the knowledge, but also the skills that are needed in the current market. So, and we are known as Heriot-Watt to have really high rate in terms of employability for our students after graduation, with actually a kind of a maximum waiting time of, I think, 16, 18 months or something like that. But we have like students who start working even before graduation, because of that set of skills that we make sure to deliver. So we are very much career-based, employability-based, but at the same time, very much timely in terms of content, in terms of material, very much global focused, not just in the delivery across campus, but also in the content that we are delivering in our programs and courses. And in addition to that, because of especially it's my own kind of interest, if issues of sustainability, especially social sustainability, is that at the heart of what we talk about. So it's not just about markets and numbers. No, it has that social and economic dimension to it as well. So I think that's really interesting when it comes to our programs and courses. Now, these are the things I could think of. Please add on these.
Thanks, Sacha. That was really comprehensive, actually. We have some questions starting to come into the chat now. So at this time, I'd like to introduce Dr. Neil Dunce to answer the next question for us. Dr. Neil Dunce is part of the academic team, and he was shown in the slide earlier. Hi, Neil. The question, which I think is most relevant for you to answer, is what sort of background do you need to apply for one of these programmes?
Thanks, Debbie. That's a really good question. In actual fact, we accept people from a very, very broad range of backgrounds. There's not one specific subject that we expect. And that's the beauty of these degrees. What you have to have really is an enthusiasm for real estate, an enthusiasm for the environment and planning, and combined with a good first degree, you will do very well. So we've had students who've come from various backgrounds. I can think off the top of my head, art history, pharmacy, biology, civil engineering, architecture, English literature, things that you wouldn't associate with someone studying in these subjects. But that's no barrier to doing well. And really our degree programs are designed to first semesters very much building up the foundations. And in the second semester, it's much more of the practical application of that theory to real estate and planning practice. So there's no barriers, no boundaries, just an enthusiasm and a desire to succeed within the real estate and planning sectors.
Thanks, Neil. Keep the questions coming in to our audience out there. Please just type your questions into our chat. Neil, the next question in the chat function, I'm going to let you answer. What sort of job roles do our graduates go on to do?
Oh, again, it's the real estate and planning sector's very, very broad. So I think the two important things to mention, first of all, are the professional accreditations. So our real estate degree is professionally accredited by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors. And there are many, many pathways within that organisation, such as valuation, investment, consultancy, development, agency. So a huge number of opportunities within that sector. The Spatial Planning and Real Estate Development degree is also accredited by the Royal Institution of Chartered Surveyors, which students could follow a career path within development and more general aspects of real estate. But it's also accredited, very importantly, by the Royal Town Planning Institute. So ask about the unique features of our degree. That's one of them, is that it's a dual accredited degree. So students have real flexibility and choice in their careers. And on the planning side, many students go into local government and become professional planners within a local authority, but also many go into private consultancy where they're advising developers and local authorities on planning related matters. So the career opportunities, very, very wide, very, very broad, and depending on personal skill set and your preferences, really there's no boundaries in the areas that you can go with. Our structure of our degree program is such that you'll get a taster of most of these areas. So we do valuation, we do development, we do investment, we do management, and students, some will think, oh, valuations are really interesting subjects. That's where I want to take my career, or maybe I'm more interested in investment. So again, you get a taster for that.
Thanks, Neil. We currently have 4 questions in the chat, and I believe that you are most appropriate to answer all of them. So I'm going to keep you on screen, and I'm going to ask you the next question is, do we get assistance in finding graduate jobs post-graduation?
Yes, we're very, very keen for our students to obviously follow a graduate opportunity. So at the university level, the career service is very, very active. Students, there's drop-in sessions to have CVs reviewed, interview sessions, as many more applications now are by giving a short video training around that and really how to get yourself noticed in the job market. The career service also have focused careers events where we bring in, we've got 2 in the first semester, one of which is very, very focused on the built environment. So that brings in all the major employers who are seeking graduates in that year. So there's a great opportunity within that. We also have regular talks from employers who come in, perhaps they're giving guest lectures, but also they have the opportunity to talk about their own firms and their own work. So again, lots of exposure to the industry. We also have a professional mentoring scheme. So every student who would like a professional mentor, we will align them with a professional who is chartered planner or chartered surveyor or both. Usually operating within Edinburgh or Glasgow, but it can be further afield depending on how you wish to operate. But that's an opportunity to be mentored by some within the profession, and they will give guidance on careers, on job opportunities, and of course, if it works out, then clearly there'll be opportunities for work experience and experience what happens within the offices of real estate and planning organisations. So a lot of support for students in getting jobs towards the end, and we're very, very proud of our employment rate. I think it's in the high 90s, isn't it? Over 90%. We have employment, which is very good. And that's of those students who want jobs. Of course, some people decide to go travelling after graduation, etc., but they eventually will find employment.
Thanks, Neil. The next question is, someone has a 2-1 degree and their background is petroleum geoscience. Can you advise on whether their background would be relevant to apply for one of our degree programmes?
Well, it's not necessarily relevant in real estate, of course, in terms of what you've studied, but everything you have studied in the skill set sets you up well. So as I said earlier, really, you do not have to have a cognate background to do a real estate or a planning degree. We are looking for students, as I said, who are well qualified. So a 2-1 is an excellent degree, and very well done in achieving that. So yes, the answer to that is yes. You will, if you wish to apply to Heriot-Watt based on that 2-1, be offered an opportunity to join us for the MSc. So yes.
Thanks, Neil. So the next question for you, Neil, are the programmes all theory, or are there some practical elements to the learning?
Oh, no, they're very practically based. A good question, whoever put that in, so thank you. So semester one is, as I said, if you're coming from a non-cognate background, everyone is treated the same, and we are building up the theory. So semester one, for the real estate program, you'll do a construction module, you'll do a valuation and finance module, you'll do an economics module, and you also do a data analytics and big data module that Sacha explained why that's very, very important. And the spatial planning real estate, you'll do a valuation module, an economics module, and also Sacha will chip in with the two other courses that are undertaken. So there's a bit of theory in semester one, but it is very practically based. There are a number of guest lecturers come in from industry and talk about their experiences and talk about aspects, practical aspects of what we're studying. And it's not all lecturing, there's a lot of workshops, so we'll cover theory, and then we will try where best possible to do real life workshops, as it were, have students looking at real buildings, doing field trips and field visits around the city. Semester two builds on the theory, but it is much more practically based. So, for example, real estate development is an entirely project-led course. Students are introduced to basically a blank piece of land somewhere. It could be anywhere in the world. Last year we looked at one in Dubai, and the year before we looked at one in Scotland. And using the skills that you have and working in teams is to develop a viable proposal for that piece of land and thinking through the entire process. So it's very, very practically orientated. In valuation, we will have you valuing real buildings, real scenarios. In investment, we get you thinking about investment within the context of portfolios. So we'll run a stock market simulation where you will notionally invest in various forms of stock market investments to learn about performance of investments, etc., and relate that to the real estate sector. So yes, so theoretical foundations are there, but it really is built upon practical work. And on the spatial planning and real estate development, again, a number of modules are very much project-led and project-driven.
Thanks, Neil. I'm going to try and tackle the next question. So the next question is about scholarships and how do the audience find more information about the scholarships available. So all of our information is on the website, and depending on where you are within the globe, it will be different and advice for different regions. So if you are an international student, then I would advise that you contact the correct regional manager, and their contact details can be found on our website. And if you're a UK student, then again, all of the details are on our website. But in addition to that, you can email scholarships@hw.ac.uk. So I hope that has helped to clarify how you would gain more information on what scholarships are available and how you would apply for them. Sacha, I have a question for you in the chat. I'll just get you onto screen. So the question is, how are you assessed within the programmes?
Thanks for this really important question, actually. We have quite a variety of ways to assess students. We don't really have one-size-fits-all approach, which I'm very happy about that. I'm proud about that. But we consider our assessment approach is quite inclusive because of that. We have exams as well, like, yeah, definitely you have like timed exam, and some of these are in person. Most of the time they are online timed coursework, we call it, or final timed coursework. So it has that exam style to it, where you have questions to answer. But also we have different ways of assessment that are based more on coursework approach, where you have a piece of work to develop across the weeks when that course is taught. So we have, for example, the strategic spatial planning course that has been delivered for spatial planning and real estate development program, for example, it's very much project-based. It does not have an exam as a part of the assessment. Some other courses as well, we have a mixture of assessments. So you have a little bit of coursework that you develop during the course where you do certain site or certain appraisal development of a certain area, or certain planning around planning to develop something around a certain particular context. Some of these contexts are chosen by students, sometimes it's given. But at the same time, we have the other part of the assessment actually exam-based. So sometimes we have like 70% project, 30% exams, or 50-50. It depends on the course and the course leader, what they design is what they think is best at that moment. More importantly as well, not more importantly, equally important as well, we have the dissertation as well. That is actually the last part of assessment where students are given the opportunity to choose a topic they are interested in and develop a piece of research around that and submit that in a format of a report. That is also one form of assessment. So there are really a variety of assessments. As well, we do presentations. That's also part of the assessment. I know strategic spatial vision project course, they do as well a presentation as a part of their assessment. So as I said, you are tested in terms of writing skills, kind of research skills, presentation skills, but all that involves different ways of presentation, different ways of cognitive thinking. But the short answer to that, well, a bit of everything. That's how we assess things, to be honest, to make sure that we are covering different areas of knowledge, skills as well, which is our key focus. So when you are graduating, you can present, you can write, you can research, you can find data, and you can kind of as well develop solutions under pressure and all that. So that's how we are thinking about our assessments, more than achieving marks and the rest of it, like what the students will gain from this experience of assessment. I hope that answers the question.
It was really comprehensive, Sacha. Thank you. I'm keeping an eye on the chat, and there is currently only 2 questions left. So I'm going to direct the first one to you, Sacha, and the final one to you, Neil. But I would still encourage, if you have any questions remaining for either Sacha or Neil, just type them into the chat. We can be here for another 20 minutes, so it would be good to get your questions while we're still live. Sacha, with regards to the thesis, someone has asked, what is the expected size of the thesis? Is there guidelines provided to write it, and how do you choose a topic?
Thank you for that. It's really interesting questions and an important one. Based on the fact that the students who sign up for our programs come from a variety of backgrounds, as Neil explained, so we do not expect that all the students know what a dissertation is or have an experience in writing one or developing one. That's been said, or that's why we are actually, once you are signing up for that program, you will have access to a Canvas site or an online hub. You can think about it like it has all guidance needed to take you like step by step how to write a dissertation. So that's like material always there. You have always access to that. You can always consult with. But at the same time, you will be assigned once you are, I'll talk about the choice of topic in a minute, but once you are assigned, once you have chosen a topic, you will be assigned a person from our academic staff who will be your supervisor. So they will be your first point of contact in terms of they will advise you as well how you're going to progress and develop that dissertation, how you're going to understand what are the parts of that dissertation, how you can actually approach constructing that thesis. The thesis is a report, basically, so it's chapter 1 and 2 and 3 and the rest of it. That includes a little bit about what the problem is, how are you going, what the questions you're aiming to answer, how are you going to answer the questions. That's where we talk about methodology, and then tell us about what you found out and what you came up with. So it has like quite some traditional approach to it, but open for creativity, please. If you like to tell the story backwards, please do. But the supervisor is really will help you in that. And one thing as well that we are introducing as well, something called Masterclasses for the master program students. That's where we are having a weekly during the first 5 weeks of semester 1, and then the first 5 weeks of semester 2. We will be running a weekly 2-hour sessions. That will be a part of your timetable. And that's where actually support is provided excessively for dissertations in particular. So we will do like joint write-up sessions, peer-to-peer feedback sessions, question and answer sessions. We will have as well model writing of some parts of the dissertation, some tasks to do group research on, as well as community building activities. So that hopefully will break the ice around like what the dissertation is and how we can approach dissertation. The size of the but in terms of like how to do it, like you will be very well supported step by step with written guidance, in-person guidance, online guidance, and a supervisor. So hopefully you'll be fine. In terms of the size of the thesis, actually it's around 15,000 words. So we're looking at 50 something pages, and there are plus minus 10%, so a little bit less or a little bit more. I don't think anyone will be counting the words, but as long as it's within reasonable range, that'll be fine. But like typically it's around 15,000 words. So we're looking at around, like I said, 50 pages or something like that. That's the usual size of written content usually. And in terms of the topic choice, really, it's really up to you to find, like, when you are studying the courses during your program, or sometimes it's something based on previous experience or work experience, or you lived in an area, or something you are personally attached to, but it is relevant to like real estate, for example, planning, like more or less, and you will learn more about what these mean during the courses. So I don't think there's a problem, but it's very important to consult with like us, or like course leaders, or your personal tutor, you will be assigned one, about the topic, just to guarantee that there is someone in the institute who can supervise that topic. They have a background and expertise around it. But in terms of choice of topics, it can be like really anything, to be honest. I have topics from looking at the emissions of buses in Hong Kong, for example, all the way to address, for example, how we can guarantee a lifelong housing for older population, for example, and everything in between. Violence against women in certain contexts, for example, issues of identity and LGBT issues, and access to services, for example, digitalized mental health services. It can be anything at all. As long as you just make sure you check your topic with someone to guarantee that that topic actually has the opportunity to be supervised. That's the key thing. But choosing topics, some people actually choose topic where their employer is interested in, or something they would like to explore that's relevant to their work, which is I think it's absolutely fine, as long as just check in terms of academically that's something we can supervise. I don't know if that answers the question. Neil, do you have anything else to add around that? Or unmute me.
Yeah.
I was telling myself, must press unmute. No, I think you've covered everything. Yeah, it's a very broad choice. As long as it's broadly related to real estate and spatial planning, then dissertations are very flexible in that way. I think the key thing about a dissertation is that it's a subject that you're really passionate about, and that's what drives you through finishing it. It's quite a long summer working on something like that. And if you've chosen a topic that you're not really enjoying, it doesn't work very well. So it's a topic that you need to want to drive through and work with your supervisor to complete it.
Thank you, Neil. The questions have slowed in the chat, and we are at currently our last question. So as said previously, I'd like to ask you to tackle this question, please, Neil. So the question is, smart cities, which Sacha spoke about earlier in the presentation, is not really realistic for the country which the person who's asking the question is from. This creates a broad gap for graduates having graduated from some universities. So are there guidelines and follow-ups for students that graduate from the programmes offered by our university?
Well, okay, so smart cities perhaps not realistic in Uganda at the moment, but that is all the more important that we educate students in this area so that they can take back and make influence or the country where they may be returning to. So I think if it's maybe not realistic at the moment, you're bringing back knowledge and perhaps have the ability to influence change in the future. Other guidelines and follow-ups, I'm not too sure what's meant by that, but certainly we cover smart cities within our courses in various ways and various topics around that. It's discussed, it's debated. We would hope that the students are very well informed about the debates and the challenges around that. And I think that our graduates are very well placed to take that overseas. But in terms of guidelines, as I say, I'm not too sure what that exactly means. But yeah, you will have a foundation knowledge which can be explored in more detail, the resources that are accessible and so forth. Sacha maybe wants to chip in there as well.
You're on mute, Sacha.
Hello, hi, sorry. Yeah, someone should have been on mute, otherwise it's not fun, is it? Yes, in terms of that as well, as Neil said, but on the other hand as well, we need to be aware that smart solutions in terms of concept, it's not just about technology. So it's about creating these connected communities, a healthy environment, issues of well-being and social sustainability. So being smart is not just about technology, it's also about being creative in order to achieve these end outcomes using the resources that you have at the moment. And that's, I think, a part of what we are as a team, I think, are strong at, because we have all these global expertise and pieces of research that is being done everywhere, to be honest. I think our understanding of what is smart and what is sustainable, it's becoming broader and more flexible in terms of what is appropriate. So sometimes what something in terms of principle may is a global term, but in terms of application, we focus a lot on the context, and we have that context-driven thinking and development in terms of everything, to be honest. I agree with you, maybe some context things may not be applicable, but the challenge here is, all right, I know, for example, what inclusive places mean in the context of like Paris, for example, or whatever, how I'm going to achieve the same inclusive cities within the context of Hong Kong, for example. The social economy is very different, but the goal is the same. It's all about the application of that and how that varies between places. So I think developing that thinking, that flexible thinking and skills in terms of understanding the context, that's how we make sure that the concept we teach actually is applicable globally. It's all about how you're doing it more than what you're doing, if that makes sense. I don't know if that answers the question.
Sacha, I thought that was very comprehensive answer. So thank you, and thank you to Neil. Our questions have slowed in the chat now, so I think this is a good time to round up and end the session. Our programmes are open for 2024 entry, September 2024 entry. The closing date for applications is found on the website on the programme pages. So if you're interested in applying and you haven't yet applied, do have a look to see when the closing date is for applications. I would like to thank our audience today for listening in and for all of your many excellent questions. And I'd also like to thank our academic experts, Dr. Sacha Hasan and Dr. Neil Dunce. For now, I'd like to bid you a farewell. Thank you and goodbye.